Hello and welcome everybody to the first edition in a long time of the Jam and Cheese Show. People have been literally stopping me in the streets, Cheese. I was at a function in Goulburn on Friday night just gone. People are like, when's Cheese coming back? We want Cheese. What's up with him? Tell him to where his priorities are. And I have to say, I think I agree with them. But
yeah, it's good to be back. I myself get stopped a lot. And everyone asks me what Jimmy's like, and he's like, everyone has the assumption that Jimmy's a good bloke, but he's actually a shit bloke. So I don't know how he's got everyone fooled, but everyone seems to think James Graham's this good guy.
Con artist.
But he's the modern day Christian Walsh.
The modern day Christian Walsh.
Sorry.
That makes absolutely zero sense. There's probably some worse names.
Not many lies do make sense, Jimmy, but yes, it was... I actually do get asked a lot, and everyone's sort of pretty supportive about the show, so that's always a good sign. I don't think anyone's going to come up to me and go, hey, mate, your podcast sucks.
Simple solution. Stop listening. Have you been, Cheese? Pre-season nearly done now?
Yeah, so I've just finished officially on Friday, but we've still got the yo-yo tomorrow, which it kind of takes away the fact that it's sort of over.
It's not over then.
It was a very tough day on Friday, and I think I've got a little bit of top up because I had the head knock. So over the course of, I'll probably be going out the back at the end of the session doing some extra stuff.
Just quickly on that, you did suffer a head knock in training, and like I think it's a huge message that clubs are taking it seriously because, back when I was playing, lads would get head knocks at training in pre-season and just. You just look to get on with it.
And the Roosters were real professional about it, mate. I was trying. I was like, mate, I'm good to go. I can train all that, but they gave me 11 days.
Yeah.
So I think it was Monday to Wednesday, and then I officially started back on Thursday, and yeah, I got to take my hat off to them because I did, I wasn't feeling great for the couple of days after. And then, I felt sweet. And then they were just like, mate, we've got to take this seriously. And that's what they did. So they really looked after me. And I guess they're one of the clubs that, take this really personal, I guess.
Well, mate, in the news last week was the guidelines that the Australian Institute of Sport have released for community sport, and I think when clubs like the Roosters lead the way in terms of their, publicly acknowledging there's been players stood down from incidences at training. This is like all goes on behind closed doors. The Bulldogs did it last year with Viliami kick-out. We're starting to see a culture shift. Even I said the greatest example of concussion being treated seriously and the culture shift is Joseph Suaalii last year against the Sharks, half-time. I remember commentating that game. It's like, where's he gone? And nobody knew. And then it was like news was filtering up. It's like, he's been removed because of a concussion. It's like nobody witnessed it. There was no independent doctor. And then as, the story was pursued, we found out that he's been involved in an incident that's gone unseen, and he flagged it to the doctor, and he's had symptoms. So,
and then I think we went on to the prelim final where he was still not able to play.
Yeah,
a must-win game to make. Oh no, the semi. So to make the prelim.
Yeah.
And he was still down. So like a must-win game and still taken seriously. Back in the day, especially not even back in the day, a couple of years ago, that's get that independent doctor and you're all right. Tick your boxes and get through it. But like that's a must-win game. And
well, that's in terms of coming back. But even I'm thinking at half-time, like I don't know if a player would have felt comfortable in putting their hand up and saying I'm no good here, and explaining it to the coach, and even the pressure of the players around them, like. people would have been looking at him like, mate, you're letting us down here. Come on, we need you. But obviously, the culture is starting to shift. We've still got some work to go. There's some other news happening in the community game, which we'll talk about a little bit later on.
Talking about headaches, it's almost time for Vegas.
Are the boys excited?
Yes, I think the boys are excited. I guess it's more so the boys are trying to treat it as a business trip, though, not so much a leisure trip. A lot of the boys have already been there and done it, but at the end of the day, there's a job to do, and this is round one. This is points on the line. It's coming around earlier, so I think, as much as it's a novelty and it sounds cool to go to Vegas, at the end of the day, it's go there to do a job.
Yeah, it's a work. You're going there to get a job done.
Yeah, get a job done. Yeah. And we're flying back, I think, the next day. So, I mean, there's not much room to, I guess, really go to
get
Vegas.
Into mischief. Yeah. No, 100%. Well, it's been announced today the Roosters players are going to be travelling business class, non-stop flight, while Manly, South Sydney and the Broncos have a stopover in Fiji. Like, the game at the highest level is all about the 1% differences. So do you feel like you've got like a slight advantage?
Yeah, sure.
I believe as well.
I think
you're flying on a Boeing 7879 Dreamliner. And I'm not. This isn't a live read for Boeing, by the way. An airplane which offers a revolutionarily low cabin altitude, less turbulence. Therefore, tick for that. New filtration, better humidity, and less fatigue. Oh, the sports scientist would be. This is sports scientist's dream.
What about what do we fly for New Zealand? China Airlines premium economy. What's the stats?
Yeah,
on that?
We spoke about that on
a Boeing 600.
Yeah, we spoke about that on the tour. The what happens on tour conversation. I sat down with you and Ronaldo Mulatalo, which is out next week, or sorry, this Thursday. That's coming out. But
like I said, we lost because I still had a sore back from that China Airlines.
Exactly. So very different. They're looking after like the Roosters.
I didn't even know all this.
Educating them.
So thank you. I'm very happy with flying business, and on a Dreamliner. 7879. Everyone. Mate, I think it was just the luck of the draw, though.
That's what they're claiming.
I mean, we had a 25% chance and we got it. So
talk about the odds. Go to Vegas. Oh
yeah.
Like if you're lucky, then you're on a streak.
The
Roosters players are on a winning streak.
Disappointed. I thought first class was a chew-in, but we'll settle for it.
Yeah. So just on that, has Robbo set any sort of like expectations on the do's and don'ts?
No, not at all. Yeah. We haven't even spoken about really the Las Vegas trip at all. It's kind of been narrow focus on pre-season, and I'm guessing now, since the pre-season's officially over, that it'll start going into that sort of chapter where we focus on Broncos and focus on their video. But at the moment, just
because you've got a trial. But then I believe, if I'm correct, the Roosters players won't be part of the second, or the first team regulars won't be part of the second trial because you'll be there. But also you got the All-Stars as well. Are you hopeful of?
I think I haven't fully nominated myself yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to.
Nice.
Yep. I think those teams get announced tomorrow, so I'll have a chat with Robbo and Adam Blair. I've already spoken to Adam Blair, but.
Is he coaching?
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah, good on him. I think he was part of the coaching staff for the Kiwis as well. I thought
he was doing all media work.
I don't know. He's all over the
show. Sky Sports in New Zealand?
Yeah, probably. But it'll be good because the last Maldives game I played was 2021. And it's always such a good camp because you kind of... You just forget how much you actually know about your own culture, and you get to go back to the grassroots of where you're from and your people. And the week is just so informative. It's almost like you don't feel Māori when you get on there because it's just like there's so much culture around you that you're just not really used to, and you kind of get connected back to that spiritual side, I guess. And I'm looking forward to that. 2021 was probably my best ever career year, so hopefully that might kickstart something for this year.
Yeah, well, I know I was fortunate enough to be a part of the All Stars game for 2 years, representing the NRL All Stars, and even for me to learn about Indigenous culture. Yeah, it was an incredible couple of weeks, and for me, a welcome break from pre-season. Like, I'll be upfront and honest, it was. I probably didn't do full pre-seasons because I was playing for England, but get back in January, and then you get picked for the All Stars. You could go away for a week. I was like, sign me up, take me there. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed it, getting to play with players that I never got to play with before in my career, and never again. So it was a quality experience, and I think it's something that it sets our game apart. Another jewel in the crown, and it's gone from strength to strength in the years. Obviously, the addition of the Maori team instead of the NRL All Stars, I think, just adds to the occasion, and I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing you in that cheese. And speaking of changing things up and new teams coming into the comp, the Peter V'landys, in an interview with the Daily Telegraph, has suggested bringing back the North Sydney Bears in some capacity when the NRL expands to 18 teams. Do you have any sort of thoughts on this at all? Or?
I love it. Have you ever been to the North Sydney Oval?
I have.
Yeah, I go and watch. My roommate plays for the Bears at the moment, and a couple of my friends, and obviously the Sydney Roosters used to be their feeder side. And I just love that stadium. I love when I go to that sort of New South Wales Cup game. It doesn't feel like a New South Wales Cup game. It sort of feels like an NRL feel already. There's just a lot of diehard supporters at North Sydney Bears, obviously being such a historic club. And they've got the capacity to do it. Like, they've got a big stadium. They've got that's my thoughts. And I'd just love to see that sort of field pack out with it sort of reminds me of a spiritual home ground of an NRL team, like a Leichhardt or something like along those lines. And I'd love to see it happen. Yeah. Whether they have the budget or anything, I don't know.
Think it'll be specifically North Sydney Bears back, but I think what the idea is they align with a Papua New Guinea, a Pacifica, a Perth team.
But would they play out of that stadium?
I think they would play maybe 1 or 2 games a season out of the current North Sydney Bears stadium.
That's exactly like the Leichhardt sort of situation.
I guess any new team coming in is going to face their challenges. The sort of the major clubs, they've had their difficulties with the administration side of things, but any new team is going to face difficulties. Those major clubs that spring to mind, the Tigers and the Dragons, they both have won premierships as major clubs. So, it's not all doom and gloom. I'm sure if a Pacifica Bears or a PNG Bears came in and got to win a comp in like Bears. 30 years, like one comp in 30 years would be a massive tick for them. Yeah. But it'd be interesting to see where the NRL moves into. There's a lot of different things at play. I think, it was interesting looking at the coaches survey, and they've suggested, and the coaches have got their best, their team's best interest at heart. And I just think, the flight to PNG is 2 flights, or for most clubs it is anyway. You'd fly from, all the Sydney clubs have to go Sydney, Brisbane to Port Moresby. So that's just, so I think they've gone, the coaches have said Perth, but I think obviously V'landys and Abdo and the commission would want to take in everybody's thoughts, but I think it's where works best commercially and from a pathways point of view is where you bring that team in. I think anyone that aligns with the Bears, that just adds them. So I think it's a move in the right direction. Speaking of the coaches, they've said that the most important issue in the game, again, this is very coach's hat, is player managers.
Why?
Well, because they probably don't like dealing with them. That's what it is.
Yeah. That's fair.
Like, that's their number one issue in the game is player managers.
What, coaches?
Yeah, so they did a coaches survey, went out to all 17 NRL coaches. Whether or not they all responded, I don't know, but plus some assistants as well. And basically the top issue for them, playing managers, clearly I don't know if it's a necessary evil, unfortunately. Like
I don't. Yeah, like a few tough conversations is probably what it is.
Yeah.
And I dare say a few player managers aren't very
they're basically
truthful with facts.
There's probably a little bit of that negotiating. There's probably also a little bit of, not game. But
what about the 35 hammy tears a year? Like,
yeah, but if you didn't have player managers, then the biggest issue for the players would be clubs trying to rip them off.
Yeah,
yeah, it's as simple as that. Like
you can't put a worth on yourself. That's the problem.
It's so difficult for any player to go in there.
Mate, I'm worth 800K.
Yeah. No, and some players do it that have got long-standing relationships at that particular club, but the overwhelming majority of footballers and athletes across the world that play in team sports couldn't manage themselves. They're a necessary evil. I understand why coaches get pissed off by them, because that's their view of it. I understand why some fans get that way as well, but unfortunately, they're a necessary evil and we need them. I'm
pretty sure the Barrett brothers, I think they do like one-off payments to lawyers that do their contracts. So they'll talk to the club. Obviously, they probably know what their worth is, but they have just that one-off payment to the lawyer, and then they sort out the contract details.
Yeah. Well, another issue.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Well, they're needed for a multitude of different
enough
things.
with lawyers already. But yeah, speaking of change, did you see the junior league?
I did. So, no tackling from under 7s and no grand finals to, I think, under 13s. Now, this has been met with, like, uproar from people in the community game.
Yeah.
And people looking back and going, well, and look, my initial reaction was, in terms of the no grand finals, I'm like, yeah, that's bullshit. You should be like competition, learning how to win, learning how to lose. Kids understand it anyway. But kind of had a bit of a rethink, and then it's like, it's not designed for people like me.
Yeah.
Like, they're not bringing in these rules, or these new recommendations, or however you want to spin it. They're not coming in to help people that have been nailed onto rugby league, or rugby league has been a part of the fabric of their life since they were 6 or 7. This has come in because I think there's a problem of stacking teams. So, but for every kid that, the story of, well, I learned so much from winning that grand final or losing that grand final, or got a sense of occasion from, playing at Belmore Oval. There's many a kid that, unfortunately, due to their lack of ability, like, think about the difference at age group and, like, people going through puberty and stuff like that. Yeah. Like, you've got some kids that are late developers that maybe, distance themselves from the game, and especially at that age, like, if you play the game from an age of, like, say 8, say like 6, 7, 8, but then you don't like it, you're not going to keep watching that game. But I reckon if they can encourage as many people to participate up until that 13, 14, then they're more likely to be a nailed on fan for life. And I think, again, I'm like, no, we need competition. That's going to improve performance, improve the standard. But then thinking about it and hearing the other point of view, it's like, well, no, we're going to keep more people in, which is then therefore going to improve the standard. And I think, grand finals and competition will come. It's going to come at the age of 13. It's kind of like, again,
I think I did that in New Zealand already.
Yeah.
So 13 was the Pennant Cup or something like that. It's called something, but nothing before, no grand finals before then. Just a win-loss record. Yeah.
Well, I can remember we played. We didn't play finals, but we played a sort of league format. Like and we had promotion and relegation. Yeah. I can remember playing. I can remember St Helens Crusaders playing Wigan St Pat's. Like, before the days of WhatsApp and knowing, like, they were they were a point above us. This game got rescheduled. Like, so we played them on a Wednesday night. Wigan St. Pat's under the floodlights. Like, I played, this is how bad it was. I played sweeper. I was because I knew their plays. Like this one lad who played for them.
What, you were the fullback basically?
No, sweeper. So under 13s, I knew this lad was really good at like putting people through short. He was their scrum half. He'd be like on ball. So I was like, nah, I'm gonna sweep because. So I was cleaning up mess.
Yeah.
So like, and that experience that stayed with me vividly, and I learned so much. That fight for like we've stayed up. We still had one game to go, which we lost, but they also lost as well. So Wigan St. Pat's went down. St. Helens Crusaders stayed up. It was like the best day of my life. But like, so I think about that experience.
The best day
Mate, it was like,
jeez, you had the best day of your life.
Staying up, so we are staying up. We are staying up, so we are staying up. And that's what we were singing in the showers after the game. Like,
how old were you?
13. Mate,
You still had 70 odd years left, and you had the best day of your life.
Like one of the best performances, like from a group of like, young kids staying up, so we are staying up. Oh yeah, so
you just look like every other Englishman I've ever seen celebrate after a win.
So like that experience, but I guess, look, it's a little bit like
you took us off track, man.
I guess it's a little bit like as well, like the grand final, for instance. Like, why isn't it played on a Sunday afternoon? I want to watch all three grades. It's an afternoon thing, and naturally I go, well, yeah, it should be a Sunday afternoon. Like, it makes sense. Like, you want it to be family friendly, all that jazz.
You don't think about the other side of it. Your brain just immediately tells you what. I do agree. I do agree with that. You don't think about the but.
Yeah, so it's from my experience and your experience, the lifers of rugby league that are going to watch anyway. We want 4 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, but it's not about us. It's about the others that can sweep in as well, because that's the reason why we have it at night, because you're more likely to get a casual fan in because of viewing figures. It's not about the people that love rugby league and it's been ingrained in their life. And the thing about no tackling in under sevens, like, there's plenty of people out there that would happily see tackle be put back even further. Now, I know the NRL are doing tackle ready programs, which is important. I think it should be licensed. I think they probably need to go a step further in that and actually have a certificate of you're ready to play tackle now. Yeah. Like, not just we're going to implement
like your
this
pen license.
Yeah. Like, we're going to implement this training, but actually let's make sure everyone passes the training and have to ensure kids can tackle and be tackled safely. But I think, again, with that under sevens, some would like to see it pushed back even further. Like, there are experts out there that say that. Anyway, this again, there's people out there that are like, well, I played tackle and I learned, and
I started playing when I was 3.
Yeah, like
it was hard to tackle. It was hard to tackle.
Yeah, but like, I started playing at 8. Yeah. I didn't have a disadvantage because I started playing at 8 or learning how to tackle at 8.
And you look like you would have been a big lad.
Yeah, but like, again, these rules for this age group, this isn't bought in for the kids that are currently there. This is bought in to try and attract other kids,
and it will. It 100% will.
Yeah, because again, our population's changing. A lot of kids from non-rugby league backgrounds, traditionally growing up, that come here, see this sport, but their parents go, we're not doing that.
Exactly.
Like, no. Like,
even kids though, even kids that are like, I'm not tackling that bloke. Like, now they don't have that option. Like, they can just come in and maybe when they've fully developed the confidence, when they're out there just making those tags, and I think it's definitely going to work to our advantage as a game. Yeah. There's some big 7-year-olds too.
Yeah, I just like, look, again, I can't stress this enough, because I know that a lot of listeners, viewers are very passionate about this and they care, and their experiences as a child doesn't necessarily represent everybody else's. I'm exactly the same. My initial was, this is bullshit. Well, it's not about that. It's about bringing as many people, and I think the plan is, by the more people in, then the standard actually increases Like it doesn't go. It's not a detriment to the product and the quality of the athlete. And I don't think, we're battle stations for participation numbers between, AFL, rugby union, soccer, obviously rugby league, our sport, and there's a few other sports as well. But I don't think this is gonna. These new things aren't going to make anybody go, oh, I'm not playing rugby league ever again.
Yeah, it's going to bring in more people than it's going to kick out.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, and
I think you bring up a good point about the stacking teams, because when I grew up, I was part of the stacked teams.
Yeah.
I was part of the teams with under 12 players with beards and babies and fake IDs. And I was in an under 14s team in New Zealand, and one of our guys had a kid, and I was like, mate, this is not... His name was Rex Muppletongue. I remember it clear as day. It was like, this guy has got a beard and a kid. He's not 14.
Maybe he was just a young shagger.
He was a big boy, man.
Very sexually active, or an early sexually active kid.
I'm telling you, and I know there's people that played against us that are just like, well, this sucks. Yeah. We lose every week, and it'll definitely eliminate you wanting to, because at the end of the day, there's not an ultimate goal.
Yeah, and look, we see it all the time at a community. People want to win, and parents and coaches get very competitive. I wonder how much some of the backlash of this is more about the parents rather than the actual kid themselves. Because the kids, they can play a game on a weekend and win, and they'll be cheering and they're happy. Or they play in the final and they win and they're happy. They lose at anything, they're sad when they lose. You wonder how much is it about the parents not being able to put it all over their Instagram.
Yeah.
Look at Johnny or Jane or whoever. They've won it. Look at this super stacked team. But I think that's my opinion. But I also think you've got to trust the decision makers in this, that they're doing it for all the right reasons. They're not going woke. I'm probably one of the most least woke people you're ever likely to come across. I don't think this is the game going woke or going soft. This is about already improving what is already a fantastic product, because we need to. As Australia and its demographics change, we need to change to help maintain and grow what we've already got. We're just going to take a quick break to talk about friends of the show, AG1. Now, taking care of your health isn't always easy, but it should at least be simple. That's why for the last 2 years, I've been drinking AG1 every single day, no exceptions. It's just one scoop mixed in water once a day, every day, and it makes me feel energized, focused, and it really takes away that mid-afternoon slump that I used to suffer from. It was awful, but now thanks to AG1, it doesn't happen. It delivers my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre and probiotics, and more. It's powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. Healthy aging shouldn't feel complicated. The thought of taking multiple supplements, pills, protein powders, etc. sounds exhausting, but just one daily scoop of AG1 covers my nutrient gaps and supports my mental and physical health without any hassle. In just 60 seconds every morning, I know I'm giving my body what it needs and setting up sustainable habits in the long run. We are so grateful to have AG1 as a partner of the show, and if there's one product that I had to recommend to elevate your health, it's AG1. That's why we've partnered with them for so long. So if you want to take ownership of your health, start with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/buy-round. That's drinkag1.com/buy-round. Check it out. I was actually at an NRL briefing today with Triple M. Graham Annesley was on the call explaining some of these new interpretations. The new rule, obviously, is the kickoff rule, which really interesting. I didn't know this. If the ball doesn't break the plane of the 10 metres off a kickoff or a dropout, and some clown decides to touch the ball, that will still be a penalty. So I thought they'd brush that. So, you know, it's like it bobbles and then someone might touch. Jordan Carr, who did it?
Yeah.
Short dropout, Bulldogs, Broncos. Carr, who it's not got. It's gone about 8 meters. Caught it, scored. Sorry, mate. No penalty to the Dogs.
I've seen that plenty of times.
So that's also if you purposely kick the ball out for time wasting purposes, that will then be a penalty. But some of the so if I'm kicking, so say you're playing for the Roosters, you've just conceded, but there's not a lot of time on the clock.
Yeah,
you can't kick the ball out on purpose.
What if you?
Well, describe what on purpose means.
A lot of grey area in that one.
There is a lot. It's up to the referee's discretion, like a lot of the things in our game. But interestingly as well, he went through the sleepers in the ruck. So that is players who
stationary in the
look to block the pressure, usually block the pressure from the marker onto a kicker.
Yeah,
which
is it sleepers? I think it's just sleepers everywhere. So like if you're standing in the line, in the opposition's line, say they've put the ball behind you, and your
fullback receives the kick,
you're
advances forward, gets tackled,
and you stand in their line, like whether you're blocking anyone or not, that's a penalty. Yeah,
so.
And that's been pretty rife in our game at the moment.
So unfortunately, what happens, and
they're just making it harder for the big boys, man.
Well, basically, the referees and the rules get taken advantage of by coach, and that you could argue and make a strong case for isn't particularly in the spirit of the game.
Yeah,
it's in the spirit of winning, and
they're just trying to get any. Like these rules are going to come out, and eventually someone's going to find a little detail that, and then they're going to exploit it.
And next year we're going to be like, or there's going to be a trend, and it's going to be the coaches are going to exploit, and the referee and the NRL, Graham Annesley, are going to have to go, well, we're going to have to change this. So the sleepers, that's, players or the team in possession, having players, quote unquote, getting back on side after the kick return or in the line. That's the tradition. That's the sleepers. Yeah, the blockers next to the ruck. Sorry, I've confused that with the sleepers. The blockers next to the ruck, which is it's last tackle. I want the ball, but I stop the marker, or have to make the marker change the run. That is very open to interpretation. Can that player get the ball? Absolutely.
I think you just can't be stationary.
Just can't be stationary. So like to block a field goal attempt. Yeah,
like you can't just be stationary and be right on the path. So say there's a dummy half, he's passed to the kicker. The blocker can't be in that path between you and the kicker. And like stationary. He can keep walking forward as long as he doesn't impede the people, but
it's going to be a very ballsy referee that is going to call a penalty for a team in possession. Imagine that. You nail the field, got you 20 all. You nail the field, or you're down 21-20. You nail the 2-point field goal.
You'd hate to be that blocker. You'd hate to be that blocker.
You nail the 2-point field goal to win the game. But then referee goes, sorry, there was a blocker.
It'd be so open to dives, man.
Yeah. Well, again, this is one of those things where it is basically now, if you're at marker and you know a field goal is coming, run in to the person that's in front of the kicker. That's quote unquote blocking.
Yeah.
Or decoy runner.
Yeah.
So look, I'm a little bit worried about how the referees have got. They've got enough on their plate.
This rule is a big change. The downtown rule.
Downtown.
That is huge.
So
there's teams I know that take the absolute mickey. Jared doesn't like this rule. He told me because like some teams will put their kicker 20 meters behind the line. Like Mitch Moses, for example, he's got a huge foot. They'll put the kicker 15 meters behind the chase line, and they'll just sprint down there and then give that 10.
Yeah.
Now,
well, so sorry to interject there, Cheese. Graham Annesley said so. In an example like that, the players can't be in front of where the ball
the
is.
ruck. The ruck. The ruck is the distance between the marker and the play the ball.
Yeah. So you can put your kicker 20 meters behind the dummy half and do a super long kick and have your
the
kick.
line will just be...
The line can't... The chasing team can't be in front of the ruck.
Yep.
Which... he showed a couple of examples. I was gobsmacked at how bad
it is.
You know when you freeze it, because when you're watching the game live, you kind of like there's that many things going on.
Yeah.
You're looking at.
You're not looking at the line.
You're not looking at where the chase. Yeah. Who's in the chase team? You're looking at, is there a late hit on the kicker? So the referees, they've got so much going on, because really fundamentally, the referee is looking, are the players onside? And then is there a late hit on the kicker? That's what they're looking for, because they penalised that a lot last year. Late hit on the kicker. The touchies, maybe that's going to be their job.
Yeah.
So this is...
That's what constitutes. But you can still be offside, which is you're in front of the kicker but behind the ruck.
Yeah.
And then you have to give them 10. But the hard thing for me is I've had to practice this at training, because we've had the briefing obviously already. Like, I usually just pass the ball and then jog forward.
Yeah. So
for me, I have to pass the ball and sort of pause or use my senses to hear the kick, or I've got to look at the kick and wait for the kick and then run. So
if you're looking, that is using your senses.
Yeah, but spidey awareness. I'm just using.
But you're still using your senses by looking.
I'm just using my ears. I'm just using my ears.
Or maybe you just need to get Kiwi or Walker to be like, geez, go! Like, after they've kicked it, that part of the new kick routine, follow through and geez, go.
Yeah, I wonder if it brings more kickers up being flatter so they can be...
Well, I don't think it will, because you've still got to be behind the ruck.
Yeah, but...
Also, they stop going so far back.
Yeah, so
But then the pressure would be...
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. That's probably what I was thinking would be the tough thing, but at least a little bit flatter. But I know for a fact, so some people take the absolute piss out of it. I'm talking 30 meters in front of that, play the ball.
Well, it's going to be a test on some of the middle forwards, because the less speedy they go early, because they want to get down there, because that's part of their job.
Yeah.
So it's going to bring a new it's going to bring a new level of fatigue, rather.
Yeah. I like it's going to bring exciting plays from fullbacks.
Yes. Well, I think this is basically what Graham Annesley said, is this is designed to bring back those one out runs from the fullback that will just cause, because obviously the defenses will be not connected further back, give them more of a run up, more of a look at the line to exploit fatigue, which is what we're going to see. So I think we'll see. I think one of the byproducts of this.
I love that rule. I don't love it as it's going to make me more fatigued, but it's just
good for the game.
It's really good for the game.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I thought that only had come in the last couple of years. I'd never seen it before, and then when I was at Melbourne, we kind of watched some teams doing it, and then we started practicing it. And then now that's been taken away, I just think it's a lot better. I think
it's really good for the game, but it's bloody hard for the refs.
Yeah.
They are going to be like I say, so imagine you're that referee. So you're holding the defensive line, then you're watching if there's a late hit on the kicker, or even imagine a +2 kick as well. You're watching the depth, but then you're trying to get a gauge on where the chase team is. In fact, it's not a call for the ref. It's a touch judge call, really.
No, it is. I think because we asked that question, we said who's in charge, because there's 2 touch judges. One deals with the attacking side and one deals with the defending side, and it's on that touchy dealing with the attacking side's job to call out. So he'll call out downtown, and it's a penalty straight away. It's not like when you catch the ball.
Yes.
It's a penalty as soon as...
Which is a huge difference.
As soon as that kick hits, it's a penalty.
Yeah. We're going to be... Basically, you can't afford to do it.
No.
It is...
It's a 40-metre turnaround.
It's if you get caught doing it, I reckon you get the shepherd's hook. You're off. Coaches aren't going to accept it. Like, there's no excuse for getting caught with a downtown. Like, if they're gonna go hard on it, you can't afford to be penalised for this.
And they will go hard on it very early.
Absolutely. Well, even one of the interesting ones, the leg lifting. So I always thought leg lifting was a good technique to try and get the player onto the ground. Like that, we do see that, and it's practiced a lot in the wrestling rooms and the dojos. Like within, you practice your 3-on-1 tackle, which is like a lot of middle forwards are involved in 3-man tackles. So I don't know how they're gonna.
I think it's like not so much the one little leg lift. It's when you rip it right up.
Rip it right up.
Because they showed us the example. I don't know if they showed.
Yeah.
So there's like a little example of a guy. He lifts one leg off the ground, say 30 centimeters, and then grabs the other leg and then puts him down.
Yeah.
But then there's another example of them lifting the leg so it's like a right angle.
Yes, it's like
that's a full
a hardcore hamstring stretch.
Yeah. It's not like
they showed us that example.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it'll be scrutinised like just one leg lift and it's held.
Yeah. Well, I think what the other thing is the drivers. So
yeah, I don't actually know what that is.
So that is if I'm running the ball and I get like two people tackle or one person, and then you're my dummy half, and you get into the tackle and start advancing me forward. That's not that. I think people are getting pissed off with that, but also defenders. Say another example would be
attackers holding off defenders.
Attackers holding off defenders, pulling defenders off.
The classic Jerome Luai.
Yeah, way.
No, Isaac Luke used to do it all the time. I've seen heaps of people. A lot of hookers. Mate, Mick Ennis, he was one of the greats for it. So someone would make a tackle, he'd get up and try run off, and Mick Ennis would just grab him, hold him for a bit. That one also, it's you adding momentum, not stopping momentum.
Yes, so there's a difference between if the person's being driven back, you can come in and stop the decline, but you can't advance them forward.
So I think, that's what I don't call it a driver. But so if you run in behind and push and advance your momentum with your players, that's a penalty. Or is it a penalty or take them back? Penalty.
I think it's a penalty.
But if they're getting dragged back, you have the right to hold them, like try to stop them.
To stop you. Say, for example, if you're coming out the in goal and then someone's getting dragged back, you can go and stop them from being dragged back into the in goal. They also mentioned a little bit about it's basically a voluntary tackle and players crawling.
Yeah, you can't...
that you're going to be allowed more time on the ground, basically, if a player...
I don't think it's a penalty, but if you... There's already a surrender tackle. Yeah. But if, say, you're a fullback and you run and just jump on the ground, thing, and they get on you, they're going to give you, you can have a cup of tea on top of them.
Well, what I'd love to see, Cheese, and I don't understand why teams don't do this, is if that happens, don't make the tackle.
Yeah, and then jump.
No. So if, let's say, take a fullback, let's say James Tedesco. Right, I'm playing at whatever club, chase down, Tedesco is in his in goal, runs out and then dives out. Right, if I'm playing at the Dogs, say, we just stop.
Yeah.
And don't touch him. It's a voluntary tackle.
Yeah, but is that still a rule?
It is still a rule.
See, I didn't know that. We better wrap this up because Graham Ansley might not have a job after this. No, mate, I've just explained the rules so well.
No, but they've brought something like that. I think. Yeah,
I didn't know it was still a rule because
voluntary tackle.
Mate, I used to, when we played out the back with my older brothers and that, and someone would do that, I'd always be screaming, "Mate, voluntary tackle!" Like parkyard footy, voluntary tackle.
Or you just put your shoulder through the back.
And then I'll get beaten up by my older brother.
But
then he puts his fist through my nose.
I think fundamentally what the NRL are trying to do makes a lot of sense. It's obviously going to have some teething issues. Yeah. But it's obviously...
I think they just want more crisp gameplay.
Yeah. I think that the kickoff thing is about genuine contest for the ball, contest to possession. Obviously, there's no scrums or not really contested scrums, although you can push if you want. The play the balls was a contest to possession back in the day. That isn't the case anymore.
Yeah,
So
I sort of criticised when they make the rule changes and that, but like the last couple of years, they're actually been like the product's gone up.
yeah, it has. So
they're doing something right.
they sure are. Anyway, geez, we have been inundated with questions. Obviously, we've basically got 5-6 weeks worth of questions for you, but I'll go with 3 that stick out. First off, does Cheese support Uncle Wayne taking over New Zealand, or would you prefer a Kiwi coach? So obviously Michael Maguire, Australian, who was left to take over New South Wales. That was deemed a massive conflict of interest. Wayne Bennett has put his hat into the ring. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm okay with it. I'm definitely okay with it.
Mate, if I were you, I'd be fucking excited because he is a great
Yeah, but I don't know if he likes me.
Oh, really? Well, that changes things.
You know what I mean?
Also, he coaches
Uncle
Jeremy
Cheese
Marshall.
might be a Samoan.
Gutting.
Yeah, but I don't mind it. It's just on the World Cup, we had pretty much an all-Australian workforce. So we had
Like staff.
Yeah, staff.
Yeah.
Like SNC was Australian, physio Australian, like everyone was pretty much Australian. I think the doctor was Kiwi and the manager, but like as far as the footy side of it, they were mostly Australian. So I'd like to see someone like Stacey Jones and Nathan Kalis, Adam Blair, someone like that in there that kind of has been in that arena, knows that, and
Like to work with Wayne or
work with Wayne. Work with Wayne.
Yeah, because that could get... Sorry, I wanted to interject there because that could get taken out of context. Jeez.
Yeah,
So
to work with Wayne.
yeah. So a bit of a Kiwi, very much a Kiwi.
Bro, no one's complaining about having Wayne Bennett as your coach. No one.
Apart from you.
No, I'm not complaining. I think he's complaining about having me as a player. There's a difference.
Fair enough. That one was from DeWatson Hayes, so thank you very much, DeWatson. Next question from Cheese B. Cheese, what are the socialising rules in Vegas?
What are the socialising rules?
Yes.
No inappropriate touching of your own teammates. I think that was about it. I think Radley came up with that rule.
Oh, really?
But there's no, yeah.
I suppose you're not going for a while yet.
Yeah,
there's
not been rules yet. I'm sure there will be some come in. Yeah.
I guess maybe we can re-answer that or re-ask you that a little bit later in the piece. Last question from Matt C. How did Cheese react to... I'll repeat that. Matt C. How did Cheese react to Cooper John's retirement post?
It was all time, but he's a dog. It was all time, but he's an absolute dog for doing that. He didn't need to throw me money under the bus. He didn't need to take us down with him. But no, it was exactly how I thought Cooper Johns would go out, and it looks like he's enjoying his time. I had a phone call with him a couple of days ago, and he's just like, mate, you don't know how good it is not having to wake up to go to training. I was like, mate, I can't wait for you to just put in that work to get me that job. I can imitate Hindy. Fat, lazy.
Are you planning on like Cooper Jones?
Did you see the post?
No.
Yeah, Cooper Jones is taking over the reins at Fox and he's bringing me out with him.
I've not seen it, but I reckon he'll go well.
Yeah, he's already doing good.
He's doing with Kyle and Jackie O, isn't he? He's like intern or some shit there, and
yeah.
Nice.
I think he's the ticket man at the moment. Have you seen that? He's fully dressed in the. You've seen that, eh? Yeah.
All right.
Fully dressed in pink. So they've got him doing the shit sweeping jobs at the moment.
Well, that's what you got to do to get to the top. I'm sure.
That's his. I genuinely believe that's his passion in life, and the way he commits himself to podcasts and like his study and stuff he does beforehand.
I don't go all nice on him now.
No, yeah, I have to break him down before I bring him up. It's probably more passion than he showed on the rugby league training paddock. So.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll run with that. Well, that's a good place to wrap it up, Cheese. It's been great to sit here and chat with you. Look forward to hopefully catching you next week, mate. If you're not in camp or
Yep.
preparation for Vegas in this new streamlined jet with,
Boeing 787.
less turbulence, filtration, humidity, revolutionary, lower cabin altitude. That is.
What the hell does that mean?
That's a marketer's dream. All right. Cheers. Been great to chat with you, lad.
Thanks,
See you
man.
next week.